Today we'll be reading from chapter 2, Canto 6, Ajamila, delivered by Vishnudutta. We'll be reading from Shloka 38 to 49. Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sityam Manutta Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Hare Krishna Kishore Prabhuji, your voice breaking up for me. I don't know about others.
Okay,
It's breaking for me also.
Okay.
I will start from beginning again.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. So we'll be reading from Canto 6, Chapter 2, Ajamila, delivered by the Vishnudutas. Today we'll be reading Shloka 38 to 49. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata seveya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Text 38. Simply because I chanted the holy name of the Lord in the association of devotees, my heart is now becoming purified. Therefore, I shall not fall victim again to the false lures of material sense gratification. Now that I have become fixed in absolute truth, henceforward I shall not identify myself with the body. I shall give up the false conception of the I and fix my mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Text 39. Because of a moment of association with devotees, just like Vishnudutas, Ajamila detached himself from the material conception of the life with determination. Thus freed from all material attraction, he immediately started for Haridwar. Text 14. In Haridwar, Ajamila took shelter of Vishnu temple where he executed the process of Bhakti Yoga. He controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord. Text 49. Ajamila fully engaged in devotional service. Thus he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. Text 42. When his intelligence and mind were fixed upon the form of the Lord, the Brahmana Ajamila once again saw before him four celestial persons. He could understand that they were those he had seen previously, and thus he offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Text 49. Upon seeing Vishnudutas, Ajamil gave up his material body at the Haridwar on the bank of Ganges. He regained his original spiritual body, which was a body appropriate for an associate of the Lord. Text 44. Accompanied by the order of carrier of Vishnu, Ajamil boarded the plane made of the gold. Passing through the airways, he went directly to the abode of Lord Vishnu, the husband of the goddess of fortune. Text 45. Ajamila was a Brahmana who became who because of bad association had given up all Brahminical culture and religious principles. Becoming most fallen, he stole, drank, and performed other abominable acts. He even kept a prostitute. Thus, he was destined to be carried away to hell by the order carrier of Yamrajas. But he was immediately rescued by a glimpse of the chanting of holy name of Narayana. Text 46. Therefore, one who desires freedom from material bondage should adopt the process of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, and form and pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at whose feet all the holy places stand. One cannot derive a, derive the proper benefit from other methods, such as the pious atonement, speculative knowledge, and meditation in mystic yoga, because even after following such method, one takes to the fruitive activity again, unable to control his mind, which is contaminated by the base quality of nature, namely the passion and ignorance. Text 47 and 48. Because this very confidential historical narration of the potency to vanquish all sinful reaction, who hears or describes it with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life, regardless of his having a material body and regardless of how sinful he may have been. Indeed, the Yamdutas who carry out the order of Yamraj do not approach him even to see him. After giving up his body, he returns home, back to Godhead, where he is very respectfully received and worshipped. Text 49. While at the suffering at the time of death, Ajamila chanted the holy name of the Lord, and although the chanting was directed towards his son, he nevertheless returned home, back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? Om Namo Narayana. I'm done from.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kishore Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Govijana Primati, when you're ready, you can start, Mata.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji, for reading the translation today. Let's start with brief prayers before we begin Bhagavata Shravanam today. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pashyate Shatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Today we are continuing our discussion of second chapter of 6th canto from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have been hearing the glories of holy name in this chapter directly recited by Vishnu Dutas, who are representative of Lord Narayana himself. So that means that there is no difference between Narayana words and his devotees words. That's why the glories of holy name is directly coming from Lord Narayana. So, and also it continues in the upcoming chapter, that is the 3rd chapter. The glories will continue and will be continued by one of the Mahajan, who is none other than Yamaraj. So the more glories are coming up. I'm very excited to hear those. So we have been hearing from Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, the real atonement is chanting the holy names of the Lord. So, in order to substantiate his point, he has started narrating the pastime of Ajamila. So, Ajamila, we have heard from various devotees from the past, a couple of weeks, that Ajamila was in his youth. He has he has developed all the Brahmanical qualities. But in due course of time, because of the bad association with the prostitute, he lost all those qualities and he became victim for the degraded life. And he started doing so many sinful activities in order to maintain his family. Family demands are more, and bad association. He was also eating prasha, the food prepared by a prostitute woman with very, very low consciousness. So all this, because of all these factors, he degraded in all the ways that could be possible. And at the age of 88, he got a son, the youngest son. He named him as Narayana. That is his fortunate. So because of the affectionate towards his youngest son, Narayana, he was affectionately calling Narayana, Narayana thousands of times. And that is affectionate chanting. So our Acharya says that because he was chanting the holy names of Narayana, it is unconscious chanting, but affectionate chanting. That's why all his sinful reactions, whatever the sinful reactions are there, those are neutralized because of the potency of holy name. And there is a supplementary note at the end of the chapter today. We can all go through that. It's a very, very Acharya's explanation, especially Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains the all the aspects, how he became purified from the simple reactions, the glories of chanting holy names. Of course, it is elaborated, discussed in this chapter as well, but he has summarized all those notes for us. It's very, very enlightening to me. So further, so at the time of death, Ajamil has, because he did so many sinful activities by his words, body, mind, three Yamadutas came in order to snatch the soul of Ajamila because he's punishable. And seeing them, he became so anxious. Sort of anxiety, he called his son Narayana with tears in his eyes, in helpless condition. He chanted again the holy name of Lord Narayana. I mean, he chanted the holy name, he indirectly, but directly he was addressing to his son. So seeing that Lord Narayana has sent 4 Vishnu Dutas, for each syllable, one Vishnu Duta, Narayana. So 4 Vishnu Dutas arrived to that scene, and there was a very nice arguments between Vishnu Dutas and Yamadutas, who has to claim the soul of Ajamila. And it was concluded that Ajamila was released from Yamadutas, and Yamadutas went and reported to Yamaraj. The discussion will happen in the 3rd chapter. Here, seeing Yamadutas, Ajamila was, very scared. And also seeing Vishnu Dutas, he became very humble and he offered his obeisances. So as soon as he offered obeisances and about to say something, Vishnu Dutas disappeared. We also read that there is because of, to intensify the separation of Lord, Vishnu Dutas did not continue to stay there. They disappeared. And also, Ajamila did not attain the qualification yet in order to have one-on-one conversation with Vishnu Dutas. He became purified of his sins, but he did not become pure devotee yet. That is yet to come. So we will discuss those aspects in today's section. And Ajamila, he repented for all the sinful activities that he did. And I'm so degraded, I'm so condemned, and I was so ungrateful to my parents. So he was lamenting and repenting what and all that he did. And finally, he made a resolution. Let me continue my devotional service. So he has, with great determination, he has taken the vow to continue his devotional service unto Lord Narayana. So we'll continue from today's verse 38. So that's why Prabhupada writes in those purports that genuine repentance is means the purification already started. For those who has genuine repentance, they are regretful, they rectify the mistake and they remember the mistake. They will not repeat the mistake. These are direct statements from His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. I'm just repeating. So that's why genuine repentance makes one to be humble and also to continue to endeavor the purification process to achieve the ultimate goal of devotional service unto Supreme Lord Vasudeva. So 38th, it is mentioned here that Ajamila is continuing to think that I chanted the holy name of Lord in the association of the devotees, because of which my heart became purified. So he's taken a vow now that I don't want to become victim to this material sense gratification again. Let me fix in the absolute truth, and I will not identify myself with my material body, and I will give up the conception of I and mine. So he has taken such a great vows that I became purified now because of the mercy of devotees. Now let me not entangle into that material sense gratification again. So that's, we can see that determination of Ajamila here. Purport Prabhupada writes, the basic reason, the beginning of our material journey, right? It begins with identification of our body. We identify ourselves with the body. That is the beginning of this material life. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna clarifies from the beginning itself, you are not this body, you are spiritual soul, right? And Prabhupada is giving that, yeah, theoretically it is there, but how can we understand that? How can we practically realize that? So Prabhupada is giving such a simple method that consciousness is possible only by chanting the holy names of Krishna. We have seen that practically in Ajamila pastime also. He was so much entangled in this material life, but after chanting Lord Narayana names, now he came to the conviction that I'm not this body, I'm spiritual soul. Let me give up all this sense gratification. So the same thing Prabhupada is saying here. So one who has the consciousness, this consciousness can be developed by chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna in the association of devotees. So the determination is very much needed. And continue to 39th sloka. So he continues, Ajamila, thinking that because of a moment of association with the devotees, that is, here devotees are Vishnu Dutas. So he detached himself from the material conception of life. And he immediately started for Haridwar. So Kshana Sangena Sadhusu, just a moment of association of devotees. He gave up the material conception of life and he started Ganga Dwaram. That is another name to Haridwar. Because Ganga, Mother Ganges starts at Haridwar. That's why it is also called as Ganga Dwaram. So that's why even a moment of association of devotees is very, very important. That's why our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Kai, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hai. So just a moment association. We can also witness that in the Ajamila history. Vishnu Dutas did not, they were not there for hours and hours, days and days, no, right? They appeared and they released Ajamila from Yamadutas and they immediately disappeared. Just because of that moment association, we became free from the material conception. And Prabhupada is here mentioning about Vanaprastha life, that is retiring life. It is very important. He's inviting all the devotees or anyone for that matter to the holy places in their retired life, so that one can follow the simple method of chanting the holy names of the Lord and taking prasad. So just by following this simple method, one can go back to Godhead. And out of all holy places, Vrindavan and Sridham Mayapur are better places for devotees to stay. And we know that in Mayapur, Chaitanya Chandrodaya temple, beautiful temple is there. And it is, Prabhupada is recommending take the opportunity of those temples and spend retired life very peacefully and very devotionally there. so that one can become eligible to go back to Godhead. So 40th verse, Ajamila now, at Haridwar, he took the shelter of Vishnu temple and he executed Bhakti Yoga. And he controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord. That is 40th verse. And 41 as continuation to 40, further it is explained, Ajamila, he engaged in devotional service and he detached. His mind was, until now, it is completely attached to the sense gratification. But now he completely detached from the sense gratification and he became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. He's in the holy dham, he is very determined, he gave up material conception of life and he got the association of pure devotees, Kshanasangena sadhunam. Now he is completely utilizing all the opportunities here, and due to which the result is the mind is completely absorbed on the form of Supreme Lord. Here in the purport, Prabhupada writes the difference between Bhakti Yogis and Ashtanga Yogis. For Bhakti Yogis, because we worship Supreme Lord in the form of deity, our mind naturally absorbs in the thought of the Lord. So there is no difference between the Lord form, between the Lord himself and the Lord in Archa Vigraha, deity form. There is no difference. And therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the most easy system of yoga. And if you see, Ashtanga Yogis, what they do, they withdraw their mind, their senses, and completely meditate on super soul, right? But the same objective can be easily achieved by devotees. The process is very joyful. They serve the Lord, they worship the Lord and offer bhoga. They see the form of the Lord directly, one-on-one, right? And it is very joyful process. And Krishna mercy is, unlimited on those devotees. But for the Ashtanga Yogis, the process is very, very difficult, and the result is not the same as Bhaktas attain. And that's why Prabhupada is quoting our dear Sri Krishna confirmation in Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenaataratmana Sreddavan bachate yomam samay yuktatmo mataha. So out of all yogis, Yoginam api sarvesham, all yogis, Karma Yogi, Gnana Yogi, Ashtanga Yogi, who is the best? Bhakti Yogi is the first class yoga. Bhakti Yoga. Sreddavan bhajate yomam. What they do? They always faithfully worship unto me. Bhajate yomam. Samayuktatmo mataha. So they are the best out of all the yogis. And for Ashtanga Yogis also, the process itself is very, very difficult. And the result is very minor. It's not as great as Bhakti Yogis, and it is very, very troublesome process. At any time, they may deviate from the path, and because they completely endeavor on their efforts, it is very, very troublesome, and of course, it is not recommended in the age of Kali. And 42nd verse. So his intelligence and mind were fixed on the form of the Lord at the time. You see, it is mentioned Brahmana Jamila. All his Brahmanical qualities are, they appeared again. They manifested in Ajamila because of the power of devotional service. And again, he saw the four celestial persons he saw before, none other than our Vishnu Dutas. So he offered obeisances to them. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes that Vishnu Dutas, when they came first time, they gave some time for Ajamila to become, completely pure and to Supreme Lord Narayana. Now the devotion has been matured because of the practice that he has been doing. I think he did for 12 years of practice in Haridwar. So I did not hear that in this purport, but I heard somewhere that he has done 12 years of sadhana bhakti in Haridwar, and his devotion has matured. He became a pure devotee. Now he is eligible to go back to Godhead. Vishnu Dutas came back and They took him in the airplane, in the golden airplane. So Ajamila now gave up his material body at Haridwar on the bank of Ganges, and he regained his original spiritual body, which is appropriate, which is needed to become an associate of the Lord, to have a spiritual body. Prabhupada writes that the perfection of Krishna consciousness is that after giving one's material body, they immediately transfer to the spiritual world and in their spiritual body. So there are also bodies, but the difference is spiritual body versus material body. One will not become light, one will not become void after attaining the perfection in Krishna consciousness. One will attain their spiritual body in order to become associate of Supreme Lord. And some devotees, based on their attraction towards Lord Narayana, Lord Ramchandra, Lord Krishna, they attain the respective destination. And one can even go back to Goloka Vrindavan to become associate of Krishna. So here, so giving up, having material body or spiritual body for a devotee, it is not much difference, because I heard many times about Anantalvar story, who is a favorite devotee of our Ramanujacharya. So he he was bitten by a snake once, very poisonous snake, and all his associates and his servants were saying, take some medicine. But Anantalvar was, just rendering service unto Balaji. It is a scheduled service. So he was saying that, what poison you are talking about? I already have a lot of poison in my heart. If that poison is more than the snake poison, then the snake will not harm me. If the poison in my body is, lesser than the snake poison, I'll give up the body. So, but in my duties, rendering service unto Lord Balaji, there is no difference. If I give up my body, I'll take bath in Virja river, and I serve Supreme Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha. If I don't die, because my poison is more, then I take bath in Swami Pushkarini. I render service unto Lord Balaji. So I don't have any difference. My duty, my service is same, whether it is material body or spiritual body. Out of they just want service to Krishna, nothing more. That is the pure devotion. And of course, in our level, we do whatever possible in order to maintain our body. That is the pure devotees' realization and their response to those situations. And 44, so now Ajamila boarded the airplane that is made of gold, and he went directly to the abode of Lord Vishnu, who is the husband of the goddess of fortune. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that even the mind is the product of material energy, right? So, but mind is very, very speed. It is very swift. If you think about Brahmaloka, you will directly think about Brahmaloka. Vaikuntha Loka, yes, you can think directly. So it is more than anything in this material world, mind is the fastest thing. If that is that much fast, so what to think about the spiritual plane? And so here the swiftness of the spiritual form, they can go less than one moment. Just immediately, Ajamila was delivered to the Vaikuntha planet. And 45th verse. Here, Sukadeva Goswami is saying that all the Ajamila, what and all that he did, sinful activities, as explained in one sloka. He was a Brahmana before. He did Viplavatva Sarvadharma. He broken all his religious principles. Dasyapati, he became husband of a prostitute. Patito Garhya Karmana, he did all kind of abominable activities. Nipatyamano Niryaye Hatvrata. So he has broken all his vows and he is destined to go to Yamadutas. Sadhyo Vimukto Bhagavan Nama Grihnan. That he is delivered. He got liberation from all these sinful activities just by chanting Lord Narayana name. Bhagavan Nama Grihnan. And text 46. Tirtha Padanu Kirtana. So what he did there, so I mean, anyone for that matter who wants to become free from the material bondage, they should accept the process of glorifying Tirtha Pada is another name, Tirthapada, another name of Supreme Personality of Godhead, at whose feet all the holy places stand, Anukirtanath. So for those who has taken shelter of Tirthapada and continuously chant the glories of names, glories, pastimes, qualities of Lord Krishna, then they immediately become free from this material bondage. And whereas the other process, even recommended by Sukadeva Goswami initially to Parikshit Maharaj as part of the test, that atonements, other atonements, ordinary ritualistic atonement, gnana atonement, they will not give the benefit, proper benefit, because those actions are always performed in mode of goodness or passion. They are contaminated by these modes. They will not give you the proper benefit, and at any point they completely become deviated, fall from that path. Whereas for those who have taken the shelter of Tirthapada and continuously chanting Anukirtanad. So that is the best atonement. Again, Sukadeva Goswami is establishing how Bhakti Yoga essentially here chanting the holy names of the Lord is the real atonement to any sinful activities. In the purport, Prabhupada again gives the clarity and also elaboration on how other karmis, jnanis, yogis, so they will not achieve the result, even though they follow the process, the prescribed process. But there is always a danger. Those activities are tinged with mode of passion and goodness, mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So the perfect atonement is not possible. So the only solution is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. One begins chanting and hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he's also quoting Bhagavatam slokam Tadha rajas tamo bhava kama lobha dayashaye chetayeter anavidyam sthitim satve prasidati. Because of lusty raja and tama, one becomes lusty and greedy. But for those who takes the process of chanting and hearing, one becomes situated in goodness and becomes happy. Sthitam satve prasidati. So that is the glories of bhakti. There is no other substitute process to that. All other process will not give you proper benefit, and it is always very, very dangerous to follow, especially in the age of Kali. 47 and 48 is Falastruti, that Yayetam Paramam Guhyam. This is very confidential. Paramam Guhyam. Itihasam Aghapatam. So this narration, by hearing this narration with Shraddha, Shraddhaya Yukto, Yasha Bhaktanu Hittayayat. So for those who hear this pastime and with faith, then what happens? One does not have to go to hellish planets. The next verse says that Navaisa Narakam Yati. One does not have to go to hellish planets. Nekshito Yamakinkara, nor they don't have to see Yamadutas. Yadapi Amangalo Matyo Vishnu Loke Mahitate. So all the Amangala, all the inauspiciousness will be vanquished, and one will attain Vishnu Loka. So that is the Falastruti given for this wonderful pastime. Of course, our emphasis is on chanting the holy names of the Lord more intensely and understanding, these pastime glories also in the form of Falastuti. So 49, last verse. This is very, very beautiful verse. This is the reading verse for today. Priya Mano Hare Nama. So what he did is Ajamila has chanted the holy name at the time of death. And he was chanting Grihnan Putropacharchitam. So he was chanting for his son. Ajamilopi Agadhama Kim Uta Sriddhaya Granan. So if Ajamila has achieved, he nevertheless achieved Vaikuntha, even though he was chanting his son Narayana, and he was also chanting at the time of the death. But what will happen to Kim Uta Sreddaya Granam? So what will happen to those who chant the holy names faithfully, addressing Lord Narayana himself? So that destination cannot be explained even by Sukadeva Goswami. That's why he questioned Kim. Kim Uta Sreddaya Grinan. What to speak of the people who chant the holy names of the Lord with faith and love. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that so at the time of the death, our condition is very, very miserable. And one is choked up, they'll not be the sound will also come like good like that. And one cannot, the suffocation is there. It is choked up and they cannot speak anything. And because of the imbalance of kapha, vata, pitta, of course imbalance is already is there in each and every body, but they're not able to align themselves properly at the time. That is it is called death as per Ayurveda. And Kulashekara Alvar also says that prana prayana samaye kapavata pitta kantavarodha vidhav smaranam kutaste. So at the time of the death, maybe I may not be able to remember you because of the kapha, vata, pitta. So when I'm fit personally and healthy fit, then let me always think about you. Let me always remember you. The span of my mind take shelter of your lotus feet. So that's his prayer. So Prabhupada here saying that one who chant the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return back home, back to Godhead. So that's why we should practice the holy names throughout our life. Then Krishna, it is very, very quite possible to remember about Krishna at the time of death. Otherwise, if we do each and every, all the material activities, no devotion, no chanting, so it is not possible. It is not at all possible to remember Krishna at the time of death because of our bodily disorder and also all the things, whatever that we practice throughout our life, it comes as the last thought at the time of death. So Krishna also says in 8th chapter, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tejati Ante Kalevaram. So whatever the state of consciousness that one has at the time of the death, they will attain the same destination, right? And here Parikshit Maharaj ends in this sloka saying that Ajamila has chanted Lord Narayana name without faith, right? But what will happen for those chants with faith? And here, we can go to 49, the sloka itself. And he was not chanting with faith, but what will happen to those who chant faithfully, right? And he chanted only while dying, right? I mean, he chanted while dying. Mriyamano. But what will happen to those who chant while they are living, right? For practicing devotees. And he chanted to indicate his son, right? Putropacharchitam. But what will happen for those who chant to indicate Lord himself? That is third one. And fourth one is Ajamila was most sinful. But what will happen to those who chant, sinless people who chants the holy name of the Lord? So this is very, very inspiring, and the glories of holy names are intensely magnified by Sukadeva Goswami here. I'm so happy to talk about these some of the sections in our sessions. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you all for your association and prayers. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.